Learn how two brothers can run a successful family business. Winning with Kevin and Jeffrey Lappish, owners of Pemko Construction, on today's episode of the Executive Wins Podcast. Welcome to the Executive Wins Podcast, where senior leaders share their biggest wins so you can get inspired and grow your business. Here's your host, Gordon Sheppard. Welcome to the Executive Wins Podcast, where senior leaders share their biggest wins so that you can get inspired and grow your business. I'm your host, Gordon Sheppard. And to start the show, I want to share a leadership lesson that I learned from Doug Griffiths, CEO of the Edmonton Chamber of Commerce, on episode 56. He showed us the importance of hiring a team of rock stars, especially when you are rebuilding an organization. And that is exactly what he did when he became the new CEO. He let go of the underperforming employees, and he brought in talented new people who really were in it for more than just money. And in just 2 short years, the Edmonton Chamber is back and thriving. Build a team of rock stars. That is just one of hundreds of leadership lessons that you'll learn when you listen to past episodes on the Executive Wins Podcast. Another reason to listen? Well, the Executive Wins Podcast won the Best New Podcast Award in the Quill Podcasting Awards in its first year of production. And thanks to you, the Executive Wins Podcast has over 45,000 views on YouTube and more than 23,000 minutes of watch time, along with having over 1,800 downloads on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you listen. Featuring mission-driven leaders sharing their biggest wins so that you can get inspired and grow your business. That's what you get on the Executive Wins Podcast. On today's episode, you'll learn how two brothers can run a successful family business. Winning with Kevin and Jeffrey Lappish, owners of Pemko Construction. I also want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by our leadership team workshop called Aligned to Win: How to Build a High-Performance Leadership Team. In this workshop, leaders learn a proven system to help them consistently make better decisions so they can achieve their goals. It's called the Anatomy of a Win, to help everyone on your team understand the strategy, work plan, people, operations, and results behind every major project that you take on. Imagine what would happen if every leader on your team is fully aligned and working hard to turn your goals into results. So if you want to break down silos and build a high-performance leadership team that actually makes your company more profitable, then get in touch with me directly at gord@executivewins.com. That's gord@executivewins.com. And now on to today's show. We are lucky to be joined by Kevin and Jeffrey Lappish, co-owners of Pemko Construction, a professional commercial contractor that has been successful for more than 35 years. You can learn about their work at pemkoconstruction.com. That's pemkoconstruction.com. On this episode, you'll learn how these two brothers successfully took over the family business, along with how they retained key clients and long-term staff. They also talk about their unique bond, complementary strengths, and their ability to stay humble as they continue to grow the business at a steady pace. This episode is must listen, especially for any siblings who want to learn the right way for the second generation to make the family business thrive. I also want to remind you that this interview follows a specific format that I created called the Anatomy of a Win, to help you learn the strategy, work plan, people, operations, and results behind every business win that you hear on this show. I really do hope that you can use this approach to reach your next business milestone. And now here's Kevin and Jeffrey Lappish with their executive win. Kevin and Jeff, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Gordon.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Well, how lucky for us to have you here, because I get to sit in an audience last year and watch you folks win a business award, which I just love that there was you had family around. You could see what you folks have done in your, generational legacy driven business that we're going to learn a little bit more about here today. So it was such a pleasure, honestly, to be in the audience and see how meaningful it was for you folks and what was happening there. And then again, you've been part of this multi-decade, next generational experience that you have. Next gen is not always an easy thing. So there's something secret sauce that you folks are doing if that's going well. And we're going to learn about that here today. There's a lot of folks, though, that haven't met you both. I'm going to start with Kevin. Kevin, if you had to introduce yourself, what would you say?
Thanks, Gordon. My name is Kevin Leppish, one of the two owners and brothers of Pemko Construction Limited, second generation ownership. I kind of did the business side of the schooling and went to MacEwan University. Just like Jeff, we got put through the ringer on site, and if we wanted to join the company, we went, right to the sites, worked under the guys, worked under the team, labor, cleanup, housekeeping, anything required. So have slowly over the 20 years that I've been here touched every aspect of the company and to where we are today. So
Well, that's interesting. You reminded me of it one time, a long time ago. I worked in the film business, and I was working in a shop where they built really cool things like life-size, like wall-size lifesavers. If in a day when they had to build things and it wasn't all CGI. And one time I was sweeping out the shop there, and I was picking up this really heavy stuff, and they were like, "Gord, put that down. That's lead." And I was like, I don't know. So you know what I mean? Like when I think about some of those early site stories that we would have from you folks, you know what I mean? As you kind of grow up in any sort of construction setting, you'd have some of those things along the way. Anyway, Jeff, please introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, so my name's Jeff Lopez, just one of the other owners, younger brother to Kevin. Been with the company now probably 18 years. Again, like Kevin, kind of working, right from the bottom, labor and then supervision and carpentry. And I took graduated from Nate from construction engineering technology, so kind of went more on the construction side of things, and yeah, it's been a quick 18 years. Time flies by, and I think Kevin and I now own the company for the last 10 years since 2015. So
Interesting. And this apprenticeship that you've both described has something to do with, is it your father that owned the company? Is that correct?
that's right. Yep.
it's right.
Yeah, and so I can hear him almost from when you could learn to talk. I can hear this approach. Do you know what I mean? That you weren't just going to step into the C-suite office and take this thing over.
That's exactly right.
What was the nature of your dad? Like, how did he get it started, and why did he have this approach for you folks in leadership learning that you had to do it from the ground up the way you did it? What would you say, Kevin?
So he was doing really well. So he was with a local construction company in the 80s, came to Canada in 1982 with mom and kind of started establishing themselves in Canada and left the former Czechoslovakia at that time. And he had a construction background in Czechoslovakia, building dams and some pretty big projects. Was a carpenter. So had that knowledge, decided, hey, I'll go to Nate. So he went to Nate here in Edmonton, got some education, was working with the local construction company, met Milan, who actually hired him at said construction company. So they worked together. Joseph proved and showed how well he was doing, how good he could do at his job, and how, he cared so much about what he did. And so then they basically, after about 9 years, decided, hey, let's start our own. So Milan and Joseph together in 1990 started Pemko, and I guess the rest is history, as you say. But
well, and the rest is history. Like, it's one thing to start a company; it's another thing to have a company 35 years later with second generation. There's something that he's done well, and I'm going to say this apprenticeship process that you've described.
Yes,
is part of the, is one of those components. Jeff, what's it like in early days around the supper table when you're like, hey, I think I might want to get involved, but it's going to be a lot of hard work? What was it from your perspective?
Yeah, he never pressured us into it, never really talked about it. You just kind of told us, if you ever want to join the company, then you're going to start from the bottom. You got to learn the business. You better go to school, whatever schooling it would be. He was the one that told me about the Nate construction engineering technology program. So he told me to look into that because that was still around when he was going to Nate. And so yeah, just we always kind of saw, he was working long hours, late, very hard. He treated the company like it was his baby, right? Those coming from Europe with really nothing, and then and starting this company, and that was basically their second marriage, I guess, between him and Milan, that they always said. And so we just kind of firsthand witness kind of the hard work it takes to succeed, I guess.
Somehow
So,
it didn't scare us away.
Yeah,
yeah,
it didn't scare you. It's funny because I'm glad to hear the way you're describing it, because you're both good-natured folks. Do you know what I mean? Having spent a bit of time with you, and I don't hear School of Hard Knocks. I hear, oh, here's the door open. Do you want to come in? Like from your dad's perspective or whatever. And there's something then that you folks embraced along the way to get that going. Is his voice in your heads, Kevin? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you're nodding. Go ahead, Kevin. Yeah.
Daily, we hear his voice, his little words of wisdom. That was a mix of Czech and English.
Yeah.
Not everyone could understand him all the time, but we sure did. And his voice rings loud in our ears for sure. And
even some of the decisions, if he's shaking his head, he's like, "Oh, I'm not sure what
what are you boys doing?"
why you
Or
would have
wow.
done that." But yeah, very much lives on in the company every day. And
Yeah, and that's so great. And then we saw you at the Business Leader Awards, put on by Business Edmonton magazine. What was it like to win the award, and why did you win it? Go ahead, Jeff. Let me know.
Well, for us, it was I guess a great honor, very unexpected. Just to be nominated by the peers and winning that award meant a lot to us. I think it also meant a lot just as a company in general, from what Dad and Milan started in 1990. It wasn't just Kevin and I, that the foundation and morals of the company were all set, and long-term employees, and then we kind of made it our own over the last 10 years. So I think it just kind of maybe solidified everyone's kind of hard work over the company's history and what it took to even, maybe get some recognition and kind of, what would you say, celebrate the success, I guess,
How
as a
nice
team.
to celebrate what is
Yeah.
hard work. Your business is not
Yeah.
an easy, and you're not, you know what I mean? Your company, I don't mean to, you can tell me what the actual size is, but it's not PCL Construction or Ellis Dawn. Do you know what I mean? There's sort of there's a zone that you're working in the, you don't need to say the numbers. It's not, but like mid-size-ish, you know what I mean, when you're doing these projects. And that's its own type of animal to lead, to scale, to do that sort of thing as you kind of go forward. So I'm really glad to hear that you got that recognition at the awards. And Kevin, what was that night like for you?
It was, incredible. So like Jeff said, we just every day for us, literally year after year, is head down, working in the business with our people, with our trades, with our consultants and engineers, right? Teams. And you kind of finish a project, you shake hands, you celebrate for a few minutes, on to the next, on to the next. So what a time to invite some family. We invited the longest serving members of our company to the event. Really enjoyed it and kind of just celebrated the past, present, and future. That was the bottom line for us. Take a night to celebrate, thank some people, and then back to it.
Well, and I need to pick. Go ahead.
Sorry, being brothers, obviously get to enjoy that together. It was a nice moment, right? So,
and slows you down in the middle of those busy days. There's two things I need to pick up there. I heard long serving. That's really interesting, right? Because that speaks to the longevity of one leadership team to the next. And also I heard morals carried over in there. So Jeff, when you said morals, what are you talking about, that the morals have had sort of a continuity through the whole time?
Yeah, I think just, I guess obviously growing up, we saw it day to day, but just even, kind of getting into the company and how everyone operated, and everyone's very open, honest. They treat every job, whether it's, either laborer to owner, every position in between, like it's their own house. So they care very much about each project. Nothing's too big or too small. And they just treat everyone with respect. And so it's just.
So
I think Dad
brought
and Milan kind of instilled that in everyone, and hired the people that kind of fit that mold, and hopefully, I think Kevin and I have done a pretty good job kind of continuing that. So
How lucky to get that foundation set up for yourself and get that going. Kevin, you mentioned longstanding employee. Who was the longstanding employee, and why have they been a longstanding employee?
Yeah, so we have a handful. So Manuel Ibasco, our project manager, senior project manager, has been with us since 1999. Joseph gave him a chance when he was coming to Canada and started as estimator and concrete kind of specialties from his background, and then kind of over the years got into the project management, and that's been a steady staple now with Pemko. He's doing all the big projects, ground up projects, large interiors, that sort of thing. So really trusted member, and I think he just enjoys the team and felt that respect and that opportunity.
And how lucky again to have leadership that have longstanding employees. The value of a project manager in your business, they can walk anywhere for a few more bucks. Do you know what I mean? If they want, if they really
Yes.
had to, from what you're
Yeah.
talking about. And now just help me out with understanding, if I said mid-size for Pemko, if you had to describe sort of the scale of your company and maybe one or two highlight projects, so that if I was going to hire you in a sense, I would know the types of things that Pemko does, and I'm sure it's a wide variety, but help me get an understanding of the types of projects that you folks tackle. Jeffrey, how would you describe that?
So we're about 30 people. We've been pretty much 25 to 30 people kind of throughout our history on average, but we do basically anything from little service $300 projects to roughly about 5 million. I would say bread and butter would be bigger interior renovations from 200 to $1 million.
That's the sweet spot for sure.
That's kind of a sweet spot, but yeah, we have a couple guys and project managers capable to do up the kind of the new builds up to 5 million.
There you go. And so we've got that sort of in play. And
Yeah.
so if I'm doing an interior, I'm in commercial, for example, I'm hiring you folks because you're going to come in with the experience, get it done right with pride that you're talking about.
Yes.
And this is why your repeat business is happening, in a sense,
Yeah.
why it would be easy to hire you, because you've got this track record. Am I making sense there, Kevin?
Perfect sense. That's what we pride ourselves in, is we don't need to market very often. You don't hear about us on the radio or TV, but you'll see signage, a good website, and repeat business. We've proven we've proven ourselves, and continue by
Continue to
providing
do that. And
excellent
it's
service.
fun, and it's funny that you say that naturally, and because it leads me into, actually, lucky for me, I get to have you on this podcast and say, if you had to describe your biggest win, now that we have all the sort of the introduction and the context, what would that win be, and how would you describe it? Is there one of you that wants to tackle that? Who wants to tackle that one?
Jeff, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I could start it, so we always kind of jump in on each other after and fill the voids. But I would say we kind of have a lot of wins, but I think Kevin and I kind of agree on one that just kind of second generation success story, I guess. Working together as brothers every day, best friends, get along, maybe not agree on everything, but we make a decision together, live or die by it, and no matter what, we don't let decisions kind of get in the way of our egos or anything like that. And you kind of hear a lot of maybe not so many success stories on the second generation. So just the fact it's already been 10 years together, and I think we're going strong, growing the company, then I think that would probably be our biggest win. But we have a lot of other wins just
No,
with
I'll
people
just
and
jump in on that
relationships.
one, and we're going to tackle that one. I think it's really profound what you
Yeah.
just said. It makes a ton of sense. And Kevin, do you think is he framing that in the right way?
Beautiful.
Yeah,
I fully agree.
fully agree. And isn't that lucky? Because it's one thing to be brothers, just to
Yeah.
grow up together. It's another thing to run a company together,
Yes.
but to run a
Mhm.
company together and be brothers and be second generation and take the handoff successfully, where, like you said, some of these long-serving employees, they didn't run away. right? When you were,
Yes.
you know what I mean? So that continuity, there's something that your father, and I'm sure your mom was a big part of it as well. Like, there's something your parents did right to get you folks to be that way, to then get into what you describe as this win, to have a successful company, second generation as brothers. Love it. It's a very unique thing that you're doing. And there's something from a leadership perspective, because that's what this podcast is about. Leaders get to listen and they get to hear, well, what's that secret sauce then? That allows you to, because you'd have moments where you do disagree. You'd have a different
Yes.
perspective on, I don't know, how to run a project, or whether we're doing financing, or all those different things that we have to consider along the way. What's going on with you two as brothers? Was it there early on that you got along well? Or was it something you had to earn? You know what I mean? Like, what is it that allowed you to sort of have this serendipity together? Jeff, how would you describe it?
Yeah, I think growing up, Dad always just said, don't let anything get in the middle. We have a sister too, so don't let anything kind of get in the middle of you guys, whether it's money or anything. I guess you look after each other, and I think we just that was just kind of ingrained into us. So kind of growing up, we were always best friends, hanging out with each other's friends, and kind of intertwined. But I think when Kevin and I took over, I think over the last 8 to 10 years, I think we kind of figured out maybe our different strengths and weaknesses, and we kind of fill each other's voids on maybe on those parts that I think we just kind of become a good team. We
Yeah, that's great.
also,
That's great to hear. I'm
yeah,
just going to jump in on that, Kevin, and say, if you had to
yeah.
describe, your strengths and his complementary strengths, how would you describe? Because clients would ask you this. You know what I mean? They'd
Oh
say,
yeah.
"Oh, you got the two brothers here. So, Kevin, tell me, what are you good at, and what's Jeff good at, and how would you describe it if you were talking to them?"
Yeah, perfect. So I think number one is we have the same work ethic. So that's number one, because without it, one's working every day, one's golfing every day, it doesn't work. Relationships are already hard enough as they are. To understand each other, to be there together is very, very important. And you hear a lot of failures and stuff like that because people don't see eye to eye. We understand that and we have those discussions, but we ask each other, hey, what would you do in this situation or whatever? So bouncing ideas off each other, making a final decision together, live and die by it. That's what Jeff mentioned. That's what we do on a daily basis. Then we celebrate those successes together, or cry about the failures, or learn from them. Discuss what happened, have a debrief, review. What can we do better next time? Make those improvements.
Also,
So working together that way is really critical. My strength is people. I don't want to call it marketing, but going out to events, chatting with people, my writing. So I do a lot of the pre-qualifications. We work together with Pauline in the office, quotations. Jeffrey is much better and understands construction details, site, the site guys. He can meet with them, solution oriented, very good with that stuff. I've learned that over the years. He's learned mine. So we've both improved drastically in each sphere,
yeah.
but have each other to also, hey, Jeff, I'm doing this estimate. What would you do in this situation? How long do you think that's going to take? He sort of knows quicker, faster than me. And
So you've got the strengths in sort of, I'm going to say, communication. And again, it's not to take away from the other, but we
no,
hear,
it's not.
if we're going to have a company of this size with the 30 people, you know what I mean? You wouldn't, if you duplicated each other's efforts, you would be out of business anyway.
Yeah.
So, but I'm hearing strengths in what you're talking about, Jeff, on that sort of meet the people, communication side. There's something going on there. And then Jeff, you've got this ability to go then and make sure the projects get done well. Is that fair?
Yeah, and I think like Kevin and I we kind of oversee all the project managers and talk to them on a daily basis, very open door, right? Just how each job is going. I think we both have a style of not micromanaging.
Yeah.
But we're involved in every project, whether it's attending meetings, biweekly meetings, and being there and talking to architects, clients, and everyone involved. Kevin's definitely better on the business. He has the business mind, so I've definitely started to learn that over the last 5 years a little more. But yeah, I think we just complement each other, and I think between Kevin and I think we're not afraid to ask questions, or we know what we don't know. we surround ourselves with people that, are more intelligent or advanced in certain sectors or.
So this is interesting. You're saying it also eloquently. Do you know what I mean? You don't learn this instantly. This is earned over a decade and a half of hit and miss. And like you said, and you smile, but we do have these peaks and valleys that we kind of go through. But I heard the win was we're proud to be brothers in a second generation business who make this business successful. I'm going to sort of leave it at that as sort of your big win.
Yes.
And what a remarkable thing, because it is remarkable because the other roadkill that's been paved, by the other siblings that gave it a try, or that golfer, non-golfer combo, or all those things. I've been in the room with as an advisor in heavy situations with brothers, actually, that, where they just can't get down to that. But you've got the secret sauce somehow that is also, I can hear your parents echoing in this the whole time. Like it's not just you guys. So you've had this lucky upbringing as well. Great. So that's the win. Anytime we talk about a win on this show, we talk about the anatomy of a win. What is the strategy, work plan, people, operations, and results to make this win occur? Strategy is always involving things like vision, mission, values, goals, this kind of thing. We've heard about some of the values. Do you know what I mean? Work ethic has been mentioned in there. Always have each other's back. Make a decision. That's the final decision. You know what I mean? There's whether these are written down or not, I don't know, but they are sort of a code of ethics in a sense that build up the values. The vision for the company sounds like it's also shared. If you had to describe the vision for the company, Kevin, maybe I'll just ask you, what would you say the vision for the company is? And we'll see if that's there.
Yeah. So for me and Jeff and I together, the vision would be slow, healthy growth every year, managing people. We're going to have some transition over the next few years with retirements and the new generation and that sort of thing. So we're already trying to tackle that now, introducing the new energetic youth and into our mix and the vision of the organizational culture, just that we've created that family business, that feel we know everyone. We're able to chat with them personally, that open door policy. So steady growth so that doesn't disappear overnight, where all of a sudden we're too big and can't have that personal feel and touch. So
And I'll just jump in there and say, in your business, you're one contract away from explosion. Do you know what I mean? Like when I hear those moments, and having touched on your industry at different parts of the business, just in my own work, there's moments when someone comes a knocking and suddenly millions turn into tens and hundreds of millions possibly.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting that you're talking about steady growth, keep that family feel, which allows you to have that focused family feel. And that's an interesting thing. You're keeping it in a zone. I didn't hear, oh, we're 30 people today. We're going to be 200 next year. We're going to leverage. We're going to, all that. That's a different type of game plan strategically. Kevin, Jeff, is this resonating for what Kevin's saying as well?
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. I think even kind of first generation with Milan and Dad, I think they were a little bit more risk adverse, and I think maybe that kind of got instilled in us that not to outstretch yourself beyond your means, kind of thing. And I think we kind of take that into the business side of it and kind of review every situation a little more thorough, a little more detailed on what could possibly be the risk of this or not. But I think you nailed it on the head.
Well, congratulations. And it's a remarkable thing in your business, again, to stay, to be in that size that you're in. You're not contracting, you're not growing, but you're getting ready for the future. So we hear strategically, we know kind of why the values and the vision are there, and you're executing. You're getting it done. And that repeat business side is remarkable, that, again, over decades. That's just a wonderful thing to hear. And that's a big piece of making this win occur. Anytime we have a strategy, we need a work plan. So we've got a bit of a timeline here where I hear you folks took over the business 8 to 10 years ago-ish.
Yeah, it's like 11 years a month ago, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, so there it is, 11 years, and it's always easy sailing, right? You took it over and there was no headaches at all and no peaks and valleys. Is that correct?
No, absolutely wrong.
We wish. I think we learned very early and frequently about the what not to do's and
yes.
But we grew from every situation and we rely on people that have been there before, and we like to pick other business owners' brains when we kind of network and stuff, and usually no matter what industry they're in, everyone's kind of facing similar issues, right? So if you could pick other people's brains,
Well,
how
and
they,
these 11 years that we're talking about, throw a little COVID in the middle. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you guys know as business owners what that was like in terms of your world, to navigate along the way. But I'm hearing that this strategy has been consistent for a long time.
It
Do you know what I
has.
mean? Is that fair?
yeah.
Kevin, does that make
Yes.
sense?
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that was instilled in us early, that we don't need to be the biggest guy in town. We don't need to be seen everywhere, or maybe a bit of that ego or not, but
Mhm.
growth is important. But how is that growth? Is it healthy? Is it profitable? Are your people still enjoying what they're doing, or is it beyond stressful? So
Yeah.
all of those things in that risk management is how we're choosing which projects we want to do, which jobs we can do. Are they too big? Is there a lot of cash flow involved, right? So
Well,
a lot of,
does a ship get caught in a canal somewhere
yes,
around the world where, again, I've seen it in your business where supply chain gets knocked out, your estimate goes off.
Yep.
You know what I mean? All that type of risk that you folks know way more about than I do, but I've seen those things as well. But you've managed through that timeline, through the peaks and valleys, through these sort of challenges, through COVID, and maintain that. There's secret sauce in here. This is a really interesting kind of case study in a sense, to have foundational pieces that then are meeting the market. But I can also hear you're meeting the future. You're saying, wait, we have personnel changes coming up as well. So not only are we talking about a business 35 years and change in business, but there's adaptations at those major inflection points,
Yep.
whether you did them or they were handed to you from the economy, depending on what nature of where we're at. And so it's just a remarkable story. So we've got strategy, work plan, people are involved. You talked a lot about people. We heard a lot about your parents. It's fun for me. I don't know. I can't say that I've met them, other than feel sneaky that I've been around one of those kitchen table conversations when I hear, your dad sounds like a great guy to meet in terms of someone who's be like, well, if you'd like to come, it's not like I didn't hear a heavy-handed story. There's like no, if you'd like to come in and try it. But by the way, it sounds like there's a firmness in there that he would have put forward into you folks as well. And you talked about some of these longstanding employees and yourselves. Any other highlights when we talk about getting second-gen brothers, from the people perspective, that we need to mention that makes this win occur? Jeff, what do you think?
I don't know if this answers the question, but I think when we kind of took over, I think we were maybe both a little worried. You were, pretty young. I think we were 20, I don't know, 24, 27
Yeah.
for Kevin or something. And it's kind of like our clients that dealt with Dad in Milan all the time, are they going to respect us, or are they kind of going to, turn away just with our age if we kind of know what we're doing or not, and if they have the trust there. So I think over the last 10 years, I think we kind of built that trust and honesty, and kind of showed them, Pemko's in good hands, and we'll take care of you if you come to us. And now it's kind of come full circle where, maybe some of the younger generation, even though we're still young, kind of look up to us, which is nice, and pick our brain about stuff. So
And we're seeing
So
full
build
circle
build.
projects, and
yeah.
that we
Oh,
started,
sorry,
we did
you
a
said.
project 10 years ago, and now it's coming back, and we're doing another retrofit for them 10 years later. And yeah.
Well, and in your world, when you hear that, right? Because that thing of, especially around capital projects, right? Capital budgets take time. And so you said, wait a second, we did one well 10 years ago when we were younger. Now we're a little older and a little smarter. And that one came around. How did that feel?
Very nice that 10 years later, someone still thinks, no, it's Kevin and Jeff that are going to do this project, Pemko and the team, without a doubt. And those clients, it's just makes this all worth it.
Yeah. And it's funny. It sounds like you guys sleep well at night. Generally, is that fair?
Yeah, there's times.
Right? There's the, but for the
Yes.
most part, you're talking about, if we talk about construction, and you know what I mean? Like when we talk about that's how tough it is on people.
Yes.
It sounds like there's some balance in there, maybe, as opposed to the wild swings that we're talking about over the way. So neat to hear that, again, longstanding employees, there's you folks, with your eyes on it for the whole time, plus the takeover. And then your clients are another factor in people that are there as well. And I'm sure if we got into the entire stakeholder group, we would hear suppliers that have been with you for a long time and those types of things as well as we go forward. Good strategy, work plan, people. Operationally, what's going on operationally that is allowing you to keep it the way you want it successfully, and you get these clients coming back over and over again? Jeffrey, if you had to describe that, what would you say?
I think everyone kind of sees that Kevin and I are involved. If they need something, they could give us a call anytime. I guess we're always open and available. We respond right away. I think that's said with everyone in our company. So I think just everyone kind of has that same um, everyone has that kind of same I don't even know how to describe it.
Same approach to sort of
Same
customer
approach, yeah,
service in a sense, right? In terms of
customer
what that
service,
is, whether it's the employees or the clients, it sounds like you're available and ready to help them. Kevin, anything about operationally that, like, is it systems,
Yeah,
processes,
so
thinking?
that's exactly what I was just going to say. Is I think when we took over and whatever, there was some pretty archaic. Construction is slow to adopt anyway. Yes, there's innovations and stuff, but everything's, oh, I'd rather do paper safety and whatever. So we've slowly made changes to the systems, better software for construction management, better estimating programs. We use the same estimating program, I think, for 25 to 30 years. We just made a change about whatever within the last year. New systems that integrate into the contracts, into purchase orders. So improving the system slowly. We've adopted digital site safety to help the guys on site, the workers on site, make it easier, faster. So we're adopting that, getting into that. Um, so operationally cleaning it up a bit to firstly protect ourselves from liability and make it a lot more
efficient.
suitable and efficient, to
Yeah.
bring in new workers, new project managers. The new generation doesn't want to do stuff on paper. Everything's digital. It's on your phone, you're mobile, you're on the cloud. So to keep up with that stuff, we've definitely spent some money and made some changes, which I think we're seeing some really good results now.
I'm glad to hear it because
Yeah.
those efficiencies are needed in your business for sure, and I'm sure AI will be that next thing that you face down.
Yeah.
Whether because there's fits and starts in the AI world right now, and so
Yeah.
glad to hear that you've got that in the background. On the safety side, folks don't know that it keeps them safe, but I'm glad to hear that perspective around liability, safety. But it fits in also with what I've heard from your, again, morals and vision and values for the company around keeping people long-standing while adapting to this new workforce that you're inevitably having to kind of deal with along the way. So there's that. There's something about the operational thinking. Like
Yeah.
there's a continuity in those two brains that I'm looking at right now that are also part of that continuity going forward. And is that fair, Kevin? What do you think?
Yep, that's exactly it. With the technology comes people who are used to technology. So basically all of it comes together in that next 10-year plan, basically. We've improved technologies, we're keeping up with the times, bringing in people who understand it and will be with us for the next 20 years, for example, right?
Mhm.
And so it all kind of works together and it takes
And then there's
time.
yeah, and then there's something in there about completing good projects. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like if I went through your photo album right now, you would show me, I don't know, genius things that you did or moments that you had to solve or moments where you had a special issue and you worked it through. Is that true, Kevin, on your Jeff, on your side? What do you think?
Very true,
Yeah.
especially today in times where, let's face it, costs since COVID have escalated a lot. That's fact. Everyone sees it, everyone knows it. We're spending more on projects, it's costing more to do projects. So, cost savings, thinking outside the box, alternates, alternatives. That's
Yeah.
a lot of
Even
our
trying to
business
keep
right now is okay. We
more
have,
often now, trying to keep stuff local, right? A little bit. So,
yeah,
because you get long lead times on everything now, and just to get stuff across the border is a challenge sometimes. So, try to find, like Kevin said, find different routes or alternatives material that can make the job more efficient. So,
Yeah, and there's something also about your own operational updating of your leadership ability. Like this is something you guys are in a work in progress every day. It's not like your
yes,
communication stops and then you don't, you know what I mean? You said we're out there talking to other business leaders. We're constantly getting in new information in a very dynamic business, and yet still the success story that you're describing, you're not like we crashed out and whatever. There's like I'm sure there's up and downs, but maintain it in that level is quite remarkable. Strategy, work plan, people, operations. Finally, there's results, quantitative results and qualitative results. I'm not here to open up your books. What I'm suggesting is you've made a few dollars. Do you know what I mean along the
yeah,
way? And if we had to say you're a healthy, profitable business, would that be a good
yes,
characterization way
yeah,
to put it?
yeah.
Any other quantitative things that you want to mention that are important? You mentioned the 30 people with some longstanding people. There's sort of on the employee side. Any other quantitative highlights that you'd like to point out to people? Number of projects completed, number of clients, like any of those types of things that are important to get out to the world.
Yeah, quantity of projects has increased every year by quite a bit. I think over since COVID, we grew in during COVID. A lot of the school renovations that we do all the time, the floodgates opened there with no kids, and a lot of renos happening. Alberta Health Services needed a lot of stuff we did. Um, so just having that steady growth. Probably since Dad in Milan, we've tripled at least, quadrupled almost in volumes, revenues, that sort of thing. But again, with always in mind that it has to be healthy. You can do 100 million and make no money, or you can do 30 million and have a healthy margin, right? So it's very important.
Absolutely. And
Mhm.
again, we can hear it's not just profit driven that we're
No.
talking about. It's a very holistic conversation that you folks have kind of worked out along the way. Quantitatively for you, Jeff, any of the quantitative side?
No, I would say it's, I guess, over, like Kevin said, over COVID, it's nice to see we always kind of track the amount of jobs we do a year. And I think this last fiscal year was the most amount of jobs we ever did in a year. And, there was never a relaxing moment, but it was nice our main goal is to keep everyone in the company busy. And that's always one of our more stressful things we think about at night is, where the next job's coming from, and our employee's going to be busy. So that was kind of my biggest thing from last year, is that was that kind of number. So
Yeah, and how nice to see steady
you know,
growth over time, which means again you're
yeah.
doing something right in your formula that you've kind of put together. Finally, there's
Mhm.
qualitative results too. Jeff, how does it feel to get this win as a second gen brother, brother in a being a brother doing that thing? Like, how's it feel?
Yeah, well, yeah, it feels me. I think Kevin and I always say, I don't think we would do it without each other.
Nope.
It feels great. We wouldn't be able to do any of it without the team that we have, or the clients that we have, architects and everyone kind of working as a team. It's
Sub trades, yeah. Yeah.
sub trades and everyone, right? So it is Pemko's name, but there's a lot of people behind it that make it successful. And I think business or any business kind of probably feels the same way, that everyone's working for the one name of the company, but it takes everyone to make it successful, right? So we've gained a lot of relationships with people. Is probably kind of our other second biggest win, is the friendships and relationships that we've made with clients and sub trades and suppliers, which carried us through even difficult times. That's
Yeah.
kind of what you rely on, is when during COVID, you don't know what's happening, then you rely on your clients to come back to you and, fill that void. So, yeah.
So it feels pretty good. Kevin, how's it feel for you?
Oh, amazing. But honestly, like we said, I don't think me and Jeff spend enough time actually. Wow, what did we just do? And
Yeah, and with, I guess, young kids of our own, we always drive by like Dad did
hey,
with
we're
us, right?
doing.
It's like, hey, we did that job or this job, and you kind of share memories with them. Dad did that with us all the time, that we still remember from 20 years ago, 25 years ago,
All
and
over the city, all over the province,
province.
northern
And
region of the
yeah,
province, and
so
amazing to share those successes and those fun projects, and
yeah.
see if they'll be interested in the future. Who knows?
Yeah, that's interesting. There's another kitchen table conversation going on as sort of
Yeah, this
things
year.
grow. That's really interesting in terms of what you're going to be setting up going
Yeah.
forward. Well, this has been a real pleasure to learn about your win. Congratulations on a unique story, a brother story in second gen. Second gen's a big deal statistically. It's a tough move, like in terms of actually to pull it off. But to have that similar work ethic and all those things that you've put together, that you are simply evolving and growing even more. If I talk to you again in 2 years, 5 years as leaders, you're strengthening that area all the time. I always like to ask, just at the end here, if you had other leaders that you were talking to, and you maybe were able to pass on one or two nuggets. Maybe I'll start with Jeff and I'll finish with Kevin here. But Jeff, anything that you'd like to say to leaders in terms of leadership lessons that you've learned that you might want them to learn from you?
Yeah, I think maybe a couple things. I guess try to find your leadership style. I guess I played a lot of sports growing up, and I always hear, like, some leaders are more vocal, some more leaders are more show it, and just through your hard work and effort. And so try to find your leadership kind of style. And then next is don't ever. Well, I guess for me, don't ever feel like in our company, no one's ever too big to do anything. We try not to let your ego get in the way sometimes, but and surround yourself with knowledgeable people that you know what you don't know, and surround yourself with the right people, and helps a lot.
Kevin, any last words on the leadership side?
I absolutely agree with Jeff, and humble, I guess. We learned from humble beginnings, and we've tried to keep that with our kids, our people. Live by that. Respect others. Keep it, we're all in it together. Everyone's working to make a buck, and that's it. Yeah.
That's the way it goes. Well, what a pleasure to meet you both. Thank you so much for generously sharing your story that many leaders are going to get a chance to learn from. Kevin, Jeff, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Gordon, for
Thank
the
you so much
chance,
for
the
having us.
opportunity. What a privilege, and we get to try something new and have a really nice chat. So thank you.
Be humble, know your leadership style, and communicate, communicate, communicate. That is how Kevin and Jeffrey Lappish win every day. Thank you, Kevin and Jeffrey, for your inspiring win. And if you enjoyed listening to this episode, then make sure to check out our upcoming episodes, which include how to grow your association membership by demonstrating value and doubling your staff. Winning with Bianca Jade Parsons, Executive Director of the Alberta Food Processors Association. And if you are a leader who really wants to learn how the Executive Wins coaching session can help you to grow your confidence and inspire your team, then visit executivewins.com to learn how. You can also subscribe to the Executive Wins newsletter to stay up to date on the podcast, live events, education opportunities, and more. Visit executivewins.com/newsletter to sign up. And if you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe, and share it with a fellow leader. And don't forget to check out our resources and links in the show notes. And keep listening to the Executive Wins podcast for more inspiring wins to help you grow yourself, your team, and your entire business. Thanks for listening to the Executive Wins podcast. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe as we bring you more inspiring wins from outstanding leaders so you can grow your business.